What is the mindset of a protector? One thing alone can make the difference between failure and success: your mindset. This podcast was created for protectors in the fields of law enforcement, security, and executive protection. Tune in every week where we look in the mirror to make real changes and learn how to achieve greatness by tapping into the Sentinel mindset. This episode is brought to you by The Arena. The Arena focuses on helping law enforcement and security professionals achieve their ultimate work experience, curriculum, and fitness goals. Visit thearenatoronto.com. Well, good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic day today. I have an amazing guest. He's not only a guest, he is our employee, but not for long, because this employee just got on with the police service, the Halton Police Service. I'm referring to our manager, Matthew Bewski. Matthew, what are you doing today, buddy? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm living life and just getting ready for police college.
And this is so weird to hear this because I know this has been something that you've had as a desire since the day that we hired you.
Yes.
Okay. And I remember asking you, what do you want to do as a career aspiration? It's the number one question that I ask anyone that walks in here is, where is your career aspiration? And you said, I want to get into policing.
Yes.
And you said that with like excitement.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. And not only did I say policing, I said Halton Police. That was my number one region.
That's right. And I'll tell you everyone just a little journey. So I'm going to praise Matthew in this little next segment. Just to give everyone an idea, Matthew came into the company a little over 2 years ago. Okay. He came in with a strong desire to get into policing. He expressed that to us. And Matthew started to navigate in his career with Sentinel and, working a lot of our event environments. And he had a very strong body of work. He did excellent work. Always, the way I would summarize who you were, Matthew, is the desire to learn.
Yeah.
The desire to learn. And we poured into him. And there's two things that we always talk about in this organization, what we look for in people, and that is humility and work ethic. And Matthew demonstrated that above grade. And then shortly after, Matthew jumped into leadership because Matthew was starting to demonstrate to the organization that he was someone that could lead by example. He cared about the work. And that is also something that we recommend to many people in the organization, is to get down the pathway of leadership. And then to make things even better based on the work he did, we then gave him the opportunity to be a manager. And this is where I really saw Matthew shine. Matthew was able to be the ideal vision of what we looked at as leadership, and that is servant leadership, the ability to motivate, inspire, lead other people. Matthew, that's the body of your work, man.
Yeah.
So when you called me and told me a couple of weeks ago that you got on with Halton, that they hired you, that was absolutely no surprise to me, because what you are identified as someone that has the X factor. Mm-hmm. So I want everyone here today, because you are here, and thank you for taking your time to come down here.
Thank you for having me.
It's only going to be a couple of weeks, and you're going to have no more red tie and black suit. You're going to have a police uniform on, and you're going to be now taking your career to the next level. I want you to first of all, share with everyone listening. We have a lot of people that listen that are Sentinels, but we also have a worldwide audience. Tell us what you did to navigate yourself to be in the position today that now you are a police officer in the next couple of weeks.
Right. So my journey goes back a long way. I never always wanted to be a police officer. It's always been something that's been on my mind. Going out of high school, I applied to police foundations. It was always something I considered. I ended up going to sports management at Humber. I did my 3 years there. I graduated. I went to work for the city of Mississauga, and then I went to work for MLSE. I ended up hurting my back in the tail end of my time with MLSE because of COVID shut everything down with the Leafs and Raptors. I used to do conversions. I would set up for the games, the concerts, whatever happened at the arena. I was responsible for setting up. Then COVID happened. I started to work for my friend in construction. That's when I hurt my back again. And it kind of got me thinking, I don't want this to be an issue. I don't want to return to MLSE because I have this lingering back pain. What am I going to do?
And by the way, just so people can hear, when you refers to the arena, he's talking about Scotiabank Arena.
Yeah, Scotiabank Arena.
And tell them what you were used to do. You were responsible for doing what?
So I would set everything up. So let's say there was a Leafs game on a Wednesday night and a Raptors game the following night on Thursday. So we'd come in once Leaf game ends, final whistle goes. we would be in at maybe 10:30 p.m. and immediately we start laying the floor down over the ice. We would start removing the glass, removing the boards, putting all the seats in for the Scotiabank Arena to set up for the Raptors game. It was about a 7.5, 8-hour process, and
very labor intensive.
Very labor intensive. Excuse me.
No worries, man.
Yeah, so it was, just 7-8 hours of just pure labor. Like it's still an older arena. It's not like the Staples Center that you see now or Crypto Arena. There's a lot of like heavy lifting involved. So then going back into construction during the pandemic, working with my friend, I realized I want to go down a different career route. I don't want to go back to MLSE. I was kind of over like the sports industry field and I wanted to go to policing. So I applied to school, something that I never thought I would go back to. And everything went better than it could have. I graduated with honors. I achieved more than a 90% average. And that's kind of like when it took off. After that is when I got my first security job. Now, it wasn't with Sentinel. It was with a different company. And it was a company that kind of was more laid back. It was, my instructions were, sit in this chair at this door, make sure nobody walks through. I did 2 shifts with them, and I said, what am I doing here? Like how is this making me better? So that's when I went on LinkedIn. I found Sentinel. I came down for the interview, and that's when I began here. And it's been like overjoyous. Like I can't speak highly enough of this company.
Could I ask you, Matthew, to share a little of we talk about the formula within Sentinel. Like, why is it that some people like yourself can be successful, right, and others are not? And I mean, I'll say this as an owner of an organization. The messaging that we push out is the same across to every individual here. The thing is that we find out that many people don't all take in that same information, and I call that the formula of success. Matthew utilized the formula of success, and he got into policing. Now, one of the big things that I can tell you about Matthew is that his willingness to learn and his humility. Ego is the number one killer in life, the number one. And Matthew always looked to push and move forward. I want you to right now, Matthew, share some things that you did. And also, I'm not trying to give shout outs to the Sentinel organization. I know the work we do, but I want you, for people that are listening, what was it about us and what we did with you and how you navigated around that gave you the success to grow in the organization?
Right. So immediately from the get-go, honestly, coming into this office for my interview, that just motivated me so much to want to do well with this company. Getting in, working in the field, immediately being surrounded by people who are like-minded with myself. Luke Barrett, to name one person, who's also with Halton Police right now. Just the two of us, just being able to speak with him so frequently, talking about his aspirations, learning from him learning from me, that helped a ton. That started all with healthcare because we were still quite heavily in the pandemic at the time. So events weren't a thing when I started. 2-3 months in, that's when events began. And like you said, humility and patience to me were the two of the biggest keys to my success with this company. I'd say just taking it day by day, waiting to earn my role as a growing role with the company is what got me to the position that I am today and what's made me so successful to get into Halton Police. Mm-hmm. One of the things that a lot of new guards want to do when they come into history, they want to be the position is they want to be in the door team and they want to roam. They want to be active. They want to be going hands-on. They want to be doing ejections.
Now, I'm going to put you on pause for a second. For those listening, History is a venue by Live Nation. This was one of the main locations that Matthew managed. And as usually we're talking about teams of anywhere between 20 to 25, 30 people. Go on.
Yes, it's definitely one of our bigger sites. So like I said, a lot of people want to have this big role. They want to do all the dirty work, quote unquote. They want to help out in the biggest way. Now, when I started, my first 4 months, I was standing in an accessibility section, making sure that the guests that I had in my section were enjoying their time and that nobody was impeding them by going underneath the stanchions and walking through. For 4 months, I stood there And I just kept my mouth shut and I waited for my opportunity.
Not the greatest position.
Not the
basically.
greatest position.
Yes.
Not the position that a lot of people want to do. And
Right.
in my time when I've been managing, usually it takes people to speak up after 2 shows that they don't want to be in that said position.
So those listening, Matthew, what you're saying is that you did a position for 4 months that wasn't considered appealing. I mean, there was value and importance of the position, but the reality, let's just be very frank with it was a boring position.
It was a boring
right?
position.
However, you did it. I didn't even know this.
Yes.
But you're right. There are people that'll work, a shift or 2, and then suddenly it's like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So what would you tell those individuals?
So, like I've told a lot of them, like we've all started here. We've all been in this position. Everybody has to work their way up to the top. Success is earned, not given. So you kind of have to just go with the flow. Everybody's watching you. I evaluate. It's a big team. It's up to 25 guards. I'm evaluating everybody on a night-to-night basis. Where your communication over the radio, just your stature, just your eagerness to be there, the way you communicate with guards before we're fully set up for the show to start. Everything is being taken into consideration. Stuff like that will get you into those increased roles. It might not happen overnight, but it will happen over time. So I would just say that, yeah, just like I said, my patience definitely got me into that position that I am today.
Mm-hmm. So patience is a big one. As they say, patience is a virtue.
Yes.
So Matthew, let me ask you this. So I want to do like a little scenario here. I know a lot of people in the organization have desires to get into policing.
Right.
So a lot of people started to realize, wait a second, Matthew wants to be a police officer. Matthew's in management. How often would you find people would come up to you? Because I do know someone on LinkedIn, I wasn't even aware of this, would come up to you and just say, we have something in common here. We both want to get on. Like, how many of them came up to you and asked you, what should they do?
Yeah, I'd say a whole handful. Like SENTINEL is definitely an organization that would help people get into policing. So we do have a lot of them in the field, and a lot of them do approach me and they say, what have you done? One of the first things I always tell them, volunteering. Volunteering is such a big aspect. I volunteered with a food bank, a local food bank, from COVID up until this current day. I'm still volunteering with them. I try to go as frequently as possible, maybe once a week. I also did volunteering with an organization called Community Living Mississauga, where I volunteered one-on-one with an individual who was he had high-functioning autism. So it's similar to Big Brother, Big Sister. Once a week, maybe twice a week, we'd get together and we'd do mutually liked activities. He loved cars, so week in, week out, we would go to Ford dealerships and we would try and sit in a Mustang, F-150. And we'd go to different dealerships so these dealers wouldn't catch on.
Right.
But it was such an amazing experience. We went go-karting, we went bowling. We just went for a drive sometimes, just to Tim Hortons. We went to his place just to play video games. It was such an amazing experience. So I would definitely say volunteering is the first thing that I tell a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And there's so many like fun, enjoyable volunteer opportunities. You can coach. You could do something similar to Big Brother, Big Sister. You could do whatever you need, and it's only an hour a week. It's only 2 hours a week. It doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to be super time consuming, but it's something that you definitely need to show that you partake in your community. Okay,
that's good. So this is great information for those listening. Let me ask you this, Matthew. What do you think is a reason or a couple of reasons why, and we've had discussions about this, as much as we do within our industry as an organization, we also have gone through some bad apples in the company, or people that have stopped being consistent, have, basically kind of gone for the worse. What are things, in your opinion, based on what you've seen, are causes for people that you see start falling off, and they start losing their value? And I'm saying, as a broad, it doesn't have to be directly to us as an organization. It can be to us, but as a broad, when you say, man, if you only didn't do this, or you were showing attitude here, or you were showing that you didn't care here, or like, what would be things that you saw in your time with us that you think could have been considered as obstacles to the individual? If they only looked at it in a different way, they could have overcame it.
Yeah, I'd definitely say it's probably ego and, like I've mentioned so many times, lack of patience. People that aren't willing to wait for that opportunity to come and they just jump ship, as well as people who aren't willing to learn. They think that, and I'm not discrediting any of their prior knowledge. These people might come in with 10 times more experience than I have in the security field. However, when I give them that little piece of advice on what they could do better next time, a lot of the times they don't take it because they think they have that one up on me and they know more than me. And I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying that I'm here to help you. You're here to help me. Let's help each other and let's do better for the next time.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely think that like it's just like that stubbornness that they don't want to excel.
Right. And I'm look, we're using the context of security here because this is the environment that we're in. But the stuff that you're talking about, Matthew, patience, a willingness to learn, all these can be applied to any career path that you take.
Absolutely.
So you achieved something that is considered a rarity. It's almost like a draft into like a professional sporting team.
Yes.
Okay, that's how I look at it as, because there's thousands of people every year. I think last year there was over 9,000 people that applied for services across Ontario. The number is increasing, and it's no better time to apply. However, services are looking for the best. Okay. In your video, there's a video that we have at the arena, not the Scotiabank Arena, but the Arena Law Enforcement Training and Security Academy. Matthew did his prep test and he was able to pass it. And we interviewed him shortly after. And he said just literally where he stood and why he does what he does. And it was all about helping the community, helping the people, the whole 9 yards. Now, Halton has hired you, and I'm going to say the region of Halton has won the lottery. Yeah. They have won the lottery.
Thank you.
Based on what you're bringing to the table. And what's amazing is we've lost quite a few Sentinels to Halton. And I don't like to use the word lose, but people have graduated over to them because you're going to elevate that game there. What are some things that you would like to do as a commitment in your role as a police officer? Like, I'm pretty sure you've been thinking a lot about how you're going to just carry your career out. What are some things that you're looking at? And also, where do you want to grow with Halton? Where's that end position for you, if you've thought about that?
Yeah, so definitely like being involved in the community is one thing, but also just bringing over like those virtues, patience, humility. I want to help out. Sorry.
It's all good.
I want to help out in any way that I can. If they want me to do a traffic stop one day, I'll be there. If they want to have me on calls next day, I'll be there. Whatever they need from me, I'm happy to help. I want to like learn everything. I want to grow with Halton, the region, and I do want to experience as many units as possible. A lot of people do have one specific unit that they want to get into, but to me, I think like policing is an organization. It's a career that has so many different branches. You can go into financial crimes. You can go into homicide, drugs and investigations, emergency task force, K9, whatever. There's so many different branches that you can go into, and you can excel and you can love, and it's just such a rewarding career for me. And I genuinely don't think that there's anything better to do than policing itself.
Okay. Do you have like an end goal where you want to go to? Like, do you want to be like? Do you aspire for like chief of police, or do you aspire?
I don't know about chief of police, but something that I've always wanted to do was K9.
Okay.
I love dogs. I haven't always had a dog, but since 7, for the most part, I've had a dog. And I think it would be so cool to work alongside a man's best friend.
Amazing.
And you get to, like, they live with you. Everything about it is just so cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the most difficult thing for you when you were applying to the service? I mean, like, there's a lot. Everything from the application process, everything from the testing, the interview, the physical. What did you find to be one of the most challenging and or intense?
To be honest, like with Halton, I don't want to like say anything bad about other regions, but Halton has, throughout the whole process, they made me feel so welcomed. They didn't keep me waiting in any phases. From the day I applied, they got back to me instantly, to the day I had my PBQ, which is the pre-background questionnaire, which is the first stage. They got back to me the following day. And I was fortunate enough to have Constable Denise Jordan as my recruiter, and she just made me feel like we were friends just from the get-go. So truly, it's really hard to pinpoint one part that was very tough for me. I'd maybe just say like the uncertainty of maybe going into the interview, what they were going to ask me, kind of which way it could veer off, because they are intense. They're meant to be intense. They're meant to like exercise everything that I know and that I've been through, and how I can display it towards them.
Did you watch the video that we did on how to succeed or win your interview?
How to win your interview? I did, yes.
Did you find that was helpful?
100%. Yes. And honestly, like, it just gave me some peace of mind. Like, some of the things that they had mentioned, those two constables had mentioned, Dave and Kevin.
Yeah.
Yes. They said that we only want to interview when you're in your best position to be interviewed. If you didn't get a good sleep, if you have a headache, whatever, you let us know, we'll accommodate you. I was fine for all my interviews, but just having that peace of mind helped so much.
Okay.
They welcome you with water. They have you take a seat. It's just, and again, I'm not saying that other services don't do this, but Halton just excelled so much with that, and it just made me feel at home.
It brought the best out of you.
100%.
Okay, no, that's good. Listen, sometimes people, for example, when they're nervous, they have a hard time making eye contact, for example, right?
Definitely.
And sometimes someone can be like, wait, why are you trying to looking? Like, are you hiding something? But it could be, they put you in an environment that made you comfortable to bring the best out of you.
For sure. It's those little things that help me so much.
Amazing. So let's go back to now. You're out. Where were you? Let's go right this. Everyone listening, because we're gonna live through Matthew right now.
For sure.
Where were you when you got the call?
So I was in my bed. 3 days prior, I had my wisdom teeth removed, all 4 wisdom teeth. So I wasn't in pain, but I was definitely swollen. And it was quite unexpected because I had been talking with my recruiter several days prior about submitting some forms. So I didn't think I was going to get the call until I submitted these forms. And I got the call, unknown caller ID. And for 1 second, I thought there's no way, but then I answered, and it was my constable, Denise Jodan, my recruiter, and she gave me the good news, and it was the first time I smiled in 4 days after having my wisdom teeth removed. The first time I was able to actually.
And what she say? She says, Matthew.
Yeah, well, I told her. She said, "How are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing all right. I just had my wisdom teeth removed." She said, I hope having your wisdom teeth isn't a requirement to be a constable with Halton, because we want to offer you the position.
Wow.
So, yeah, and I was emotional. My mom was the only one that was home with me. My dad was at work.
Yeah.
So I was able to get out of bed, walk over to my mom and put it on speaker, and she was able to share the moment with me. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Any tears of joy?
Definitely. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, you have to share that, man. This is amazing that you're saying this, because to me, it's like, what an accomplishment. It's like, that's why I related to a draft. You're getting drafted.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
It really is like a draft day video that you see on the NFL. Shortly after that, my dad got home. I shared the news with him. My girlfriend finished work. It was the first time I left my home. I drove to a food court of a local mall that we met up in, and I shared the news with her in the food court, and there we were, both like shedding tears.
Amazing.
Of joy. Just like, she was over the moon for me. Again, it was kind of unexpected that I received the call that day. So it was such a surreal experience. I let the rest of my family know. And yeah, it's just kind of.
And I'll tell you this, people hear all the time, you hear celebration stories. Why I find your story is like so amazing, or people that I know directly that have come from us. I'm coughing too now. Or am I crying? No, with the organization is that I know just who you are. Your heart is so amazing. I know you're going to be a difference maker. That's what I know about you, Matthew, because of who you are from the inside. And that's your upbringing, man. That's everything around you. So you're someone that's also very influential. You have the ability, people, you know, by your energy, people also kind of get that energy, right? So I really want to congratulate you.
Thank you
for everything that you've done. I'm excited for your journey, and we have, we keep in touch with all our sentinels that have moved on into policing as well. We may bring you back to kind of share words of wisdom in uniform. What I do want to have you share, if it's okay with you, Matthew, for somebody listening, whether they're a sentinel or somebody on the outside that has aspirations to get into policing. By the way, before I ask this question, was this your first attempt and you got on, or did you apply other times?
So I did apply to Toronto. However, that didn't go far.
Okay.
So this is my first full attempt. Yes.
Okay. So your second attempt, Toronto first, Halton, and you got on.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. For the person that got rejected, because you can remember that rejection from Toronto.
For sure.
Okay. For the person that got rejected, or for the person that just wants to, get on so badly, but they're just looking at like they can't see purpose to what they're doing right now. What advice would you give those two people, for the one that got rejected and the one that just is trying to come into policing, but they just can't see the picture. They just don't see the journey.
Right.
What would you say to those people?
I would definitely say, when you get that rejection, don't take it as defeat. use it as a stepping stone towards your next application process. Think about, not oftentimes do they tell you why they rejected you. Sometimes a recruiter will be nice enough and tell you this is where we want you to work on. But learn from like what you've done, whether it's picking up a second language, whether it is volunteering in a different capacity, maybe volunteering more frequently, maybe getting more work experience. Don't take it as a negative, but take it as what can I do to make myself better? And the next time you apply, when you first step in that room and you share your PBQ, you share everything about yourself, you want them to think, wow, I want this guy or I want this girl. Not, oh, I hope they want me. They want to be wanting you, not you wanting them. Okay. So get to that point where you're so confident in yourself and you've done so much to yourself that you can be in that position.
Amazing. Words of wisdom. Matthew, as we close, any last words at all? Anything in your heart that you'd like to share for anybody listening?
Yeah, I'd definitely just say, just stay the course, do whatever you need to work on, and just one day it'll get there. Just keep working hard. If you can dream it, you can do it. And I definitely think just stay into that mindset and excel.
Amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard from Matthew Bewski. Matthew, we're so happy and supportive of your move. We wish you the best of luck. For those that are listening, there's a lot of gems in here. You might want to replay this, but at the end of the day, you have to look at this from this perspective. What Matthew speaks to is hope. Hope that one can get on. All you need to do is a clear mind, resilience, perseverance, and you will get there. Have a fantastic day, everybody. Stay safe and keep pushing forward to your goals. Take care. Matthew, thank you, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me in today's podcast. This podcast was created for protectors in the fields of law enforcement, executive protection, security, and anyone looking to level up their mindset. If you are learning from this podcast and you're enjoying it, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Sentinel Mindset. That's a zero-cost way to support us. In addition, please subscribe to the podcast both on Spotify and Apple. And on both Spotify and Apple, you can leave us up to a 5-star review. If you have questions for me or comments about the podcast or guests you would like me to consider on the Sentinel Mindset, please post all comments on YouTube. I do read all the comments. Please also check out our sponsors, thearenatoronto.com. The Arena was created to help all those in the fields of law enforcement, security, and all that achieve their fitness goals. I want to thank our producer, Matthew Doyle, and creative supports, Jaslene Singh, who help me with this podcast every week. We value your feedback and are here to support you. Tune into the Sentinel Mindset every week where we look in the mirror to make real changes and explore what it takes to achieve greatness in your craft.
This podcast is brought to you by Executive Protection Lifestyle Canada. Make sure to drop by next week and don't forget to subscribe.